I see that, Aggie. I see it, Aggie.
All right. So you guys mute. Y'all go ahead and mute. So teammates, I'm so excited about our guest speaker tonight. One half of a power team, Chris and Michelle Durham. Chris and Michelle are great dear friends of mine and Mel. He'll tell his story, so I won't steal his thunder, but they truly are building one of the historic hierarchies in all of Primerica. Senior vice presidents on their way to national sales director, $350,000 earners on their way to $500,000. At Primerica, you go from 300 to 500, right, Chris? That's all that matters. So they're on their way to $500,000 and then $1 million from there. They've got two incredible young adults that they are raising and have finished raising almost a son. And but most importantly, they are just a great couple, a great example of building it as a partnership in Primerica. We know partnership takes all shapes and forms, but for you guys that have a partnership with your spouse, with your significant other, Chris and Michelle are absolutely the ultimate examples in Primerica of how you leverage each other's strengths, and build a business together that becomes legendary. So Chris, so excited to have you on the night, man. So I'm gonna turn it over to you to tell your story, and this is just the base shot, Chris. And so just share with the base shop your best tips. We know there are no secrets, but your best keys on what they need to do to build businesses that are gonna take them to RVP. So Chris, I'm turning it over to you.
All right. Well, this is the future. These are the future RVPs in internal hierarchy right here. This is your the future NSDs, SNSD on the call tonight.
That's right.
Okay, well, it's good. I'm glad to have the opportunity to talk to you guys. And you know, I mean, Renee and Mel are like, we love them people, man. They are like they royalty in my eyes. I love them. And if they ask me to speak anytime, it's like, all right, stop what you're doing and whatever you can do to help them, it's the priority when they ask you. And so I hope you guys hold them in the same regard as Michelle and I do, and run the plays they call, you're gonna be in great shape. Michelle and I, so I guess I'm tasked to I'll tell our story first. So Michelle and I got started in the business in 1995. I don't know if I'm yeah, let me show y'all, since I'm the co-host, I'll show y'all some pictures I like to show people. This is what Michelle and I, Renee, you ain't gonna believe this right here.
Let me see.
You know them people right there?
Oh my goodness, y'all are babies.
That's what
wow.
that was Michelle and I's first meeting in Primerica. We have been in the company, we have been in Primerica like, it was fresh out of North Carolina A&T State University, 1601 East Market Street in Greensboro, North Carolina, 27411, right there. I have been in Primerica about, maybe.
Uh-oh, Chris, we can't hear you.
Year, way back. And so Mr. Lennon said, if you get to Orlando, you got a place to stay. So Michelle and I drove all the way to Orlando, and I hadn't been in Primerica but 3 weeks. Michelle and I drove her little car all the way to Orlando, Florida from Greensboro to see what Mr. Lennon was talking about, blah, 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 blah. And we took a picture that was at the, wherever, I don't know where we were at the time. This is what we look like now. So,
wow.
So 25 years later, we've made a little progress, and we got started part-time. A friend of mine said, Chris, I got somebody I want you to meet. 3 years later, I quit my job, which there was a big deal to me. I mean, that was the only real job I ever had. I had a job with benefits, and where I'm from, you don't just quit your job to do Primerica. So and it was a big deal for me. When I told Mr. Leonard, he had like he wasn't excited at all. Just crushed my little heart at the time. So I quit my job. That was in the summer of '98. So I tell people all the time, say, how long you been doing this? Like, I ain't even have a job since '98. You don't, I'm recruiting young people all the time. They like born in '93. Like, listen, I ain't had a job since you was in kindergarten. You don't even, you look, I'm gonna show you how to make some money if you listen to what I'm saying. So '98, I left my job. Michelle ended up leaving her job too, which is a whole nother meeting. Then we got promoted to RVP 3 years later. Now it sounds like it's fast when I tell the story, but it wasn't fast. I wasn't an overnight success. Mika Saunders, ain't that something I just thought about? She made $1 million in her 6th year in the business. And I just became RVP my 6th year in the business. And then the next year we made 100,000, and then the next year, then look, it took us 10 years, Renee, to go from 100 to 200.
Wow.
And then it took us 5 years to go to 300. And so that was 2017. It's just 2020. 3 years later, we going to 500,000. Ain't that something? So that's like half the time every time, like 10 years to, so 10 years to 200, 5 years to 300, and 2.5 years to 500. Ain't that exciting? What's great, man, it doesn't matter where you come from. You can come from, it doesn't matter, you can come from a single wide trailer in Enfield, North Carolina, next to a hog pen, and you even never had a job before. Y'all see this picture right here? I promise you, all of y'all started further along than me in this picture right here. I hadn't even never had a job. I had never been in no business or marketing. I didn't know a mutual fund from a mutual friend. I didn't know one insurance policy from another. I didn't know nothing about this stuff. I grew up in a house that had a lot of love and no money. And I met my coach today, John and Angela Lennon, and they was making $600,000 a year when I met him. That's $50,000 a month. Where I'm from, the whole town don't make $50,000 a month. You add all their money up and it ain't $50,000. So, and last month, in July, Renee, we got paid $51,000 in a month. Is that unbelievable?
Wow, that's phenomenal.
That is crazy. I mean, that's more money than I dreamed was when I was seeing when this guy right here on this computer screen that you're looking at right now, it was 23 years old. Michelle and I were just dating. We had never, I mean, we were just, all of this was a dream. And 25 years later, we headed to a great business. 25 years later, we've made a little progress. I mean, I'm excited about where we are and the direction we're going in. Like Renee said, we got and since then, so in 25 years, we've grown our Primerica business, and not fast as the fastest, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. As fast as I could build it, I was doing all that I could based upon my understanding at the time. We've also had started a family. I got a 22-year-old son. He was 22 years old yesterday. He's graduating from UNC Wilmington in December. He's getting a film degree. He's starting he's got a videography business. And in fact, we were talking earlier, he got his first project. He's gonna get paid $1,000 to make 4 videos. He was like, he ain't never made $1,000 before doing nothing. And he's got his own business free, and he's excited about his future and what's happening. We got a daughter that's in high school here in Houston. And we moved it, well, I didn't tell that part of the story, but when born and raised in North Carolina, we built our business for the first 20 plus years in North Carolina. And we packed up and moved to Houston, Texas in 2018. Didn't know a soul. Not one and Michelle got one cousin in Houston, and we don't even really deal with them like that. So I ain't even really count them. So all of the other people, we didn't know anybody, and we moved all the way to Houston, Texas to build our business. I moved here for the sole purpose to make $1 million in Primerica. And we found some great people here on our team and on our Texas team. and that I wouldn't even have known. I didn't even know those people existed. 12, I mean, you know, that's actually been 2 years now. Time flies, but 2 years later, I think I mean, we're about to promote our first RVP here in Texas. And so
Wow.
it's some great things happening if you put your head down and work hard, and you can win here. So that is my story. And the next thing, Renee, you wanted me to talk about was my, tips on winning, right?
Yeah,
So
your best tips on winning.
okay. So let's say I will give you uh I give you 3 points. My 3 points on 3 tips on winning is
Okay.
number one, you have to have an activity system, which that's really my second point. Before that point, let's start with discipline. My first point is, let's talk about discipline. You hear all the time people say, yeah, I would work harder for myself than I would for somebody else. Man, they lying. No, no, they won't. 80% of people actually need a job. They need somebody to tell them what time to be there, what time to leave, because left to their own devices, they not gonna do enough to be successful. The definition of discipline is to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's the secret. Even when you don't feel like doing it, you gotta do what you need to do when you don't. Can you get yourself to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it? And can you keep yourself from doing what you want to do, even though you know you want to do it, but you don't need to do it? That's the it. Can you, I'm going to say this again for those of y'all that's paying attention tonight. Can you get yourself to do what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it? And can you keep yourself from doing what you want to do, because that ain't what you need to do right now? That's discipline. How many times have we said, I don't feel like doing that? I mean, and chances are, if you don't have really a pedigree of success and a track record, the thing that you need to do to be successful, you probably ain't gonna feel like doing them. You don't feel like doing them because if you were doing them, you'd be winning already. It's gonna require some discomfort. You don't want to. I mean, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did 7 presentations today. I didn't feel like doing 7 presentations today. I mean, I got a whole list of stuff I could have been doing outside of 7 presentations today. But if we want to grow, if we want to find the best people that we can possibly find, I got to teach people the basics. We got to have a system to recruit and train and develop and teach people the business. You got to put some energy into that. So you got to work when you don't feel like working. And that's a whole mouthful. I mean, you got to talk to people when you don't feel like talking to them. You got to follow up when you don't feel like following up. You got to, even when you don't want to say no, oh my God, I do not want to talk to nobody else today. You got to talk to them anyway. So you got to have the discipline to do what you got to do. And the next point is you got to have an activity system. Systems, y'all heard the acronym SYSTEM stands for Save Yourself Time, Energy, and Money, right? SYSTEM. Save yourself time, energy, and money. If you got a system, if the system says I got to do X, Y, Z, whether I feel like it or not, will ensure your success. Like I'm sure, hopefully, everybody on this call, you guys heard of the deserving jar and then 111-310. And I mean, there's more than one. I remember it was February 2019. We were in Dominican Republic at the retreat. I didn't even know who Miguel Illich was. I had no idea who he was. And I mean, obviously I knew who Willie Nuano was. We were sitting in the audience. Now we had just moved to Houston that was our year, because I moved to Houston in January 18. Michelle didn't come to August of 18, so she hadn't even been here a good 6 months. And we was flat as a pancake. I'm talking about I was frustrated with every cell in my body. And I'm in it, and I'm like, man, I didn't know, I knew I needed something. I mean, it was just flat. And I was sitting there in the audience, and Miguel Illich got on stage, and he's told this story. He said 5 years to 500,000, and blah, I mean, he got my attention. And then he said 700,000 and blah blah blah. And he started talking about, and then he ended his talk talking about a deserving job. Now I'm telling you, I was on him way before. Now everywhere you go, everybody talking about Miguel Illich. Obviously, he's making $1 million now. But he set my soul on fire in February of 2019. It was the day after Valentine's Day. We listened to DR. And and I told Michelle, we're gonna do that when we get back home. I started in February of 2019. Now, I mean, and I'm thinking pretty good at Primerica. But I mean, I ain't no prospector, like going out meeting people and going out getting 10 names a day. I mean, I would rather do anything other than that. And Miguel Illich said 1 recruit or 1 sale or 1 new license or 3 new presentations or 10 new names. Whoo! Why he say 10 new names, Jesus? I got to go out and get some prospects. I don't have no activity, or I can't go home. Michelle and I got off that plane from the Dominican Republic, and we said we're gonna do it. Man, that night we was at Walmart at 1 o'clock at night. Now here we are. If we making 20, and we was making money, if we making $20,000 a month with offices, with 150 licensed agents, with offices in Texas and North Carolina, and I gotta be in Walmart prospecting, what you gotta do? If I gotta do it, and you ain't nowhere near anywhere you want to be, what you think you need to be doing? So you gotta work the business. So anyway, we worked, and I did that, and it took a minute, and we got a degree of it going. I started getting referrals, and then we got some, like Sean, we got a co-op, our office and Tommy Crump's office, we all share, we work together. And one of Tommy's RVP, Sean Young, he started doing research on everything Miguel Illich ever said. He finds an audio of him at a five-star school here, there. You can find stuff. So he finds an audio that said 10 new names come from 10 different people. So, because I had kind of drifted away and started getting referrals, and if I get over 10 referrals, just rationalizing, trying to figure out an easier way to do it, because it was just so painful to me to go prospect to do it. And so we did it, and we had a little progress, and we went all the way through 2018, and we were consistent for the most part, and we finished the year at 250. But honestly, I had drifted away from it. And then we went to that senior leadership meeting in January of 2019. I mean, this year. And here he is again, Miguel Illich up on stage again. Their hierarchy is #1 in every freaking category there is. And I said, dadgummit, look, you gonna do this or not? So January 6th, we got back from the senior leadership meeting, and and now it is September the 13th, and we haven't missed a day this year. Sean, we have several people who haven't missed a day this year. And we've gone from, like Renee said, 350, we promoted 2 RVPs. When the COVID-19 hit, it forced us to Zoom full time. Well, I was already Zooming part-time anyway, because I still got my office in North Carolina. I still had clients in North Carolina. So the Zooming full time actually was worked better for me because I was already Zooming part-time. So I was like, I was already kind of was familiar with the process. So basically, that's a long story on my point number 2 is you got to get an activity system and you got to commit to it. I'm talking commit to it when even you don't feel like doing it, when till it hurts. And then you get some other people to do it. And then my last, and so that's what our team does. And for the people that are buying in, are having an amazing success. Broderick and Demetria we got an RVP went over 100,000. We got another RVP that's going over 50,000 this month. We got another RVP, they made almost $10,000 that first month out last month. We got another guy in our base shop who is, the guy here in Texas, he'll go to RVP by the end of the year. So you gotta get an activity system and buy into it. All right, and then my last point is number 3, is you gotta have you gotta commit to a self, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and number 3 is you gotta commit to a self-development program. You gotta get better. You cannot be left to your own devices and do what you need to do to be successful. We have in January, so we read a new book every month. Our whole team does, and we meet and have a meeting about it every day, every morning. So in January, we read How to Raise Your Own Salary. In February, we read Outwitting the Devil. March, we read Pat Summit, How to Reach the Summit. April, we read Developing a Leader Within You. May, we read Tony Robbins, Awakening the Giant Within. Now that daggone Tony Robbins is deep. It takes 2 months to finish his books. So it took 2 months to finish Awakening the Giant Within. Then we read Nick Saban, How Good You Want to Be. Then we read, now we're reading Developing the Leaders Around You. Then we're going to read something again next month and a month after and a month after. If you commit to a self-development program, once again, even when you don't feel like it, I don't want to get up every morning and read. If penny morning, I don't want to get up and read and think about what I just read and make notes from it and then discuss it with people. You don't want every day. But teammates, that's what it might not take all that for you. I'm just telling you what it takes for me and my walk in working on being successful. Because if you work hard on yourself, it's gonna pay dividends. You should miss a meal before you miss your self-development program. You can miss anything but that. Just like John Keyhole said back with the mind powers. It's like oxygen every day. You gotta have those fresh ideas, fresh perspectives. It's amazing, man. It's like, oh my God. People that are successful for a reason. They're not lucky. You want them to be lucky. We probably want Mika Sana to be lucky. That sister's not lucky. She ain't lucky. Nobody's lucky. The people that are winning, they're not lucky. They are hard workers. They're paying a price. They're good at what they're doing. They find the best people. They teach them the basics. They share a vision. And they do what it takes to be successful. And we're going to do the same thing. Thank God in Primerica, we are in a business that has a level playing field where we even have that opportunity. Because in other places, that don't even exist. So those are my 3 points, Renee. Number 1, you got to develop a serious discipline. Number 2, you got to commit to an activity system even when you don't feel like it. That will save you from yourself. That will save you from your bad habits. If you follow a system and you discipline on that system, it will compensate. It'll be the great equalizer from whatever other deficiencies you have. And number 3, you got to be a maniac about self-development. You got to study every day like your life depends on it, because it does, whether you know it or not. All right.
Wow, that was awesome, Chris. You stop. Can you share your camera back? We can't see you.
You can't see me.
We can hear you, but can't
What?
see you.
I wonder why. I hit stop share.
I don't know. Well, we heard you loud and
Switch camera.
clear.
Switch camera.
Switch cameras.
Yeah.
Did that help?
Don't worry about it. We can hear you. We just can't see you, but the words are most important. So, so Chris, if you don't mind taking a couple of questions. I took a bunch of notes, man, a page full of notes. I love that. And you kept it really clean and simple, you know, discipline, doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it, and keeping yourself from doing what you want to do because that's not what you need to do right now. I think that's powerful. You know, that both sides of it is doing the right thing and not doing the wrong thing. That's discipline. I love that. And then number two, having an activity system where you gotta, you know, do something productive in your business every day. Get one recruit or close one sale or get one license or make 3 presentations or get 10 new names and numbers. I hadn't heard that part about 10 different people. So that is an even higher, you know, level, a higher standard. And then number 3, committing to self-development. So I think that is huge. So we're going to take 2 questions and then we're going to let Chris go. If you have a question, raise your hand. We can see you now, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Trying to get out of this one.
So,
let me throw this in there
so,
too, Renee, if you were, since I'm
okay.
Because Miguel is 111310, and it's got to come from 10 different people, and they meet every day.
Oh, and meet every day. Okay.
That blew my mind. That was mind-boggling. I was like, oh my God, there ain't nobody I want to talk to every day. What in the world is Miguel Ellis saying every day? They meet. It was like, what are you saying? I couldn't even. And then I listened to it over and over and over and over and over. And so, but what I was already doing was I was already self-developing every day. So that was my team is spread out now because we were in North Carolina and Texas, so we couldn't physically meet every day. So it was, so I just married the two, the self-development and meeting every day. And that has really, if I had to point to one thing outside of zooming and multiplying the amount of people you're in front of, that is huge. It's been huge for us.
That's huge. And I'm glad because we do a book in my base shop. We do a book every month that we discuss twice a week in our training. But you talk about taking it to a whole new level where the people that are serious, I mean, it's open to everybody, but the people that are serious are willing to get on there with you every day and really, 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 really dig deep into that self-development. So that's good stuff. So guys, anybody that has a question, raise your hand, or we're going to go ahead and thank Chris and let him go because he's been really generous with his time. Does anybody have a question? All right. So Chris, you're exactly right. This is the group we're making the move from SCP to NSD, and you know, from where we are now, close to 350 and rolling 12 to 500. And so the only place you can become an NSD is by promoting RVPs out of the base shop. I would just say, because you went to RVP, you know, at a young age, but then you took that RVP contract and built a business, because even though you were making $200,000 for a few years before you got to 300, making $200,000, you know, every year, year after year after year, that's a big deal. I would just say, could you wrap up by people that are talking about going to RVP, saying they want to do it, and maybe, you know, the work ethic and the results are not matching up with the stated objective? Why should somebody be willing to be disciplined, work that activity system, personally develop? What's the value of that RVP position in Primerica? If you could just kind of sell the dream of why somebody should make all those changes and sacrifices and do all that personal development in order to make that happen.
Well, you know, when I'm from Enfield, North Carolina, I grew up in a single wide trailer next to a hog pen, literally. And I grew up picking cucumbers and on a farm watching my granddaddy work. And we went to, I went to A&T and got a degree in biology. And I got a job working at a chemical company in a lab. And I met Mr. Lennon. And all my life, all I knew was just working hard. I didn't know that I was supposed to be trying to be free. I guess somewhere out in my imagination, I imagined that freedom could exist for me, or was possible, but it was never tangible enough for me to reach out and go for it. Because it's really in America today, it's a dream come true. Do you know? Most people are like in the matrix. I mean, they are trapped. They can't even relate to our lifestyle and what we have here. So for you to be here and close to becoming an RVP, where you can build a hierarchy and have the freedom, maybe because you've never been free and you don't really know how precious it is, you can't relate to it, you don't realize that is something that you should be working morning, noon, and night for, that the influence that you could have, an example you can have in your family, the ripple effect for generations to come, is such a monumental impact. You don't really understand that, but because you ain't never, if you like me, you just can't relate to it. You ain't never had never been modeled for you. But that's what we're supposed to be working toward. It's not about a job and how much money you can make working for somebody else and being an employee with somebody's thumb on you your whole life, and then work for 40 years and have nothing to pass on to your family. That's what I was on track for. And then when I met Mr. Lennon and discovered this, and now I know it's about freedom. It's about building something that will allow you to be free. It's about waking up with a view. It's about waking up with a different perspective and the freedom to pursue whatever you want to do that day. It's about being an example for your children to follow and having the resources to provide them with opportunities. So should they fight? Oh my God. Ain't nothing more important than that. Yeah, it's what we supposed to be. That's what we were created. So that's what I'm here for. I love it. It's the best thing ever happened to me.
That's awesome. And that's the thing, man. It's all about freedom. And I think, like you said, if you've never had real freedom, not freedom from responsibility, but freedom with responsibility, then maybe you don't place the value on it that you should. But I'm telling you guys, one of the things I always say is your worst day in Primerica is going to be better than your best day on any job, right? Because of the freedom and the opportunity to always get better, always grow, always do more, always have more. So, man, you've really blessed us tonight, Chris. Appreciate you so much. Tell my girl, my sister, that I said hi. I can't wait till we actually see each other. All the things we took for granted, actually seeing each other in person again. But our teammates, you guys unmute yourselves and give it up for another phenomenal TMM Sunday night speaker, the incredible $500,000 earner, soon to be NSD, Chris Durham. Y'all give it up for Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Georgia story.
Welcome.
Uplifting story, man. Keep pushing.
Thank you.
Aggie
All
Pride.
right, man.
Aggie Pride.
We
Let's kill it.
appreciate you. All right, good night. We appreciate you, Chris.
Maurice right there.
All right, team.